The stage is already open. Okay, it worked. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Key Members podcast. Thank you so much, Christian. Panelists, you are getting an invite to speak on stage. You guys come on up. Let's see who else is in here. We are waiting on Mr. Mr. TekD to pop in. Mark or Jared, if you guys see him, just invite him up. Miss Smash could not make it today. She does have to, or excuse me, she got called into work early. So she was unable to join us this evening as originally planned. Hey, Peter. Oh, there he is right there. Invite to speak. All right, there we go. We're 4 for 4 up here. So, again, welcome everyone to our Key Members podcast. These 4 individuals have been a pedestal of the USDF or DepNav community for many, many years. And so I wanted to take a second to give these panelists just a second to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their USDF DepNav origins and their journeys thus far. Whoever would like to go first, you're up.
I vote Jenny goes first.
All right, Jenny, Miss Potato Bow Shoes.
Wow. I think that Jared should go first, to be honest.
Hey everybody, you probably know me. If you don't, my name is Jared, aka Watch For Me. Former Deputy SecDef, former CNO for a long time, Chief of Staff, yada yada. It's good to see everybody again. There's a lot of names out there that I see in chat. Amanda, I am shouting you back out. Good to see some people that have rejoined. Old names are very good as well. Roggy, how you doing? Anyway, so yeah, I joined back whenever I first started. We were in USDF about circa 2004, 2005. I know some of you weren't even born yet, but yeah, it was around then. Those are my favorite experiences back around those times because every day was like a fight for your life. And I'm sure we'll go over that more. And I was pleased to work with many great people here, including the great Jamie, aka TekD, who's with us as well. Jamie, I don't know if you want to say anything.
It was a pleasure to work with you as well, Jared, as well as everyone else from back then. Those of us who've made it for this long, I think, have a unique perspective on the Habbo community and the struggles from actually having your raid shut or your room shut down from raids and very interesting things that used to go on back then.
I'm just gonna say, if you guys don't know me by now, there's probably some problems. But yeah, I've been here since March 2015. I was happily retired, not working at USDF after they reopened, until Mexi texted me while I was on deployment. She said, "Oh my God, Cycron is back. You're rejoining Habbo tonight." And I was like, "No way." So I logged on after about a year or so not being on, because I just joined the military, and before I knew it, Cycron had recruited me. I was in here. I was in 04, and that pretty much started my career here at USDF. I was allied with old DepNav back in the day when I worked at USSO in the early 2000s, especially during the Great War of 2008. If anyone here was around for that era. Yeah, I've been SecDef now for going on 4 years or so, and I just recently passed the most days served as SecDef in the modern era. So pretty interesting, pretty cool. Who else is left? Austin?
Oh no, not me. I'm just the host.
Oh,
We're we're speaking of, kind of when everyone came. Mark shared with us he came and went, and came back. Um, Jared, Jamie, when did you all join? Um,
Wait, don't you want to introduce a potato?
my fault,
oh
Jenny.
yeah.
We don't have to.
No, Jenny, come on now.
We really don't have to. It's fine.
Well, at least answer this, Jenny. When did you originally join USDF DepthNav? When did you join this community?
Originally, I think May 2015. And I'll be honest, I joined with my IRL best friend to troll. Thought we would last a day, and I'm here like many years later.
Almost 10 years. Wow.
It's very interesting to lead off of that because I came back on a whim with someone named Wall,
Uh-huh.
and did not think that I would actually continue to play, and I did not like the second in command at all. And the first thing that we did was absolutely troll him, running through the hallways because Reese let me in. It was only after that that I realized I was going to stick around and actually contribute. Don't
I think
take
I
our
did the same
example.
thing.
Seeing your command
I
start off as trolls, I love it.
I knew that I was going to contribute to USDF, but I stuck around. And actually, Jamie is part of this memory because I'll never forget. I think Jamie promoted me to an officer rank without Reese's permission. Reese's Cycron, in case anybody knows. But I remember that very fondly because Jamie took a spanking for that, but did it anyway because he believed in me. And now look, here we are. What? Old people now.
I'm not
So,
old.
Reese considers us friends now.
yes.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. We do have quite a few topics that were created by the OSPC OPA team in light of our 20th anniversary coming up, especially our parade next weekend. So just kind of going through some of these, I'm going to work my way down the list. The first thing that or the community rather, would like you to do is reflect on your journey. What inspired you to pursue a leadership role in USDF, even if you did not maybe see yourself walking that way? Um, for example, if you joined to troll, you had no intentions of leading this community, but eventually you found that path. What inspired you to get in a command position or a leadership role, and how has your journey changed over the years?
Well, if you go back in time to 2004, I was actually a member of USM, and DepNav wasn't open yet, and I was in USM's leadership there as one of the branch leaders, and went and joined DepNav. I was actually poached basically because Beck was an idiot.
Yep.
So I joined uh, DepNav, and my intention from the start was to contribute. Cycron was, well, at the time, Amaranth actually was much more palatable than anyone else. And Reese taking over, I mean, we went through a bunch of absolute nonsense things before finally settling on DepNav and uh, USDF. It was a long time before USDF was a thing, actually. When I came back, obviously, I didn't intend to lead or do anything, but seeing the community again, I'd blame a little bit of nostalgia, I think. But I think what USDF offers is unique as an experience, and I wanted to help. I mean, I would advise anyone else who has ideas or wants to contribute to put those things forward. That's how we grow.
Well, I think for me, what inspired me to pursue a leadership role was Eventually once you've gotten involved, people get to know you. And it only takes that one time where somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to be you in the future," which is very endearing. And I'm sure everybody up here has heard that from at least somebody at this point. And it can happen for everybody here. To know that you've done such an impact on somebody's life, and it comes across in a great way. You don't know how anybody else is feeling in the real world. They could be having an ugly experience, and they use Habbo as a means of escape, right? And so knowing that you've had a memorable impact on somebody, it's invigorating. It's invigorating because it makes you want to help out even more. And to me, I think that's what inspired me to continue on, because we have a great community here. You're never going to find anything like this on Habbo. You go anywhere else and tell me you'll find anything like it, and you won't. And that's the reason why this atmosphere has lasted for this long. It's because the generations that are coming up through have learned about the things that we've done right and the many mistakes that we've also made as well. So, yeah, just being able to know that you've made an impact on people, I guess, is a reason why I wanted to continue leadership.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Jenny, Mark, did you all want to add anything?
I never actually wanted to be a leader or do OCS or anything like that. And it was only when someone in senior command, I don't know if anyone remembers Rob, he spoke to me about the impact that I made, which sort of led me to OCS and being DGFD for forever. And it was actually nice seeing the impact, I guess.
I remember Cycron coming to me, Jamie, I think Jared too at the time. I remember we had to like force you to like promote you out of DJFD because you were that position for so long, and it was doing so well. Like your offices was doing great, but I remember we were like, we gotta move her up to senior command. So it's kind of cool seeing how far you've came since then.
It's the best position.
And that's a great point, Mark, because especially being here so long, seeing how people have progressed, you know what I mean? There are many people that I've seen come and go, but people I've seen work their way to the top as well.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we got next, Austin?
All right. Your next question from the community. What would you say is the most valuable lesson that you've learned throughout your service at USDF, and how has it shaped you or your leadership style?
Damn, I'd say attention to detail for me.
Mm.
I remember I've submitted so many things here in my early time, coming in with a little bit of an ego because I had already owned my own military. If people remember, I owned Defense Gov for 2 years, and then I co-founded America's Army before that, and then I was at Tiberius' DoD before that as well. So I had already been in high-level positions for many years coming in here, and I think what humbled me was coming to terms that I wasn't exactly like a 10 out of 10 perfect person that I thought I was at the time. And I was younger when I joined here. I was about 18, 19. So I was still young in the grand scheme of things. And what USCF taught me was, pay attention to the small details, triple check, quadruple check things before I submit them. And I noticed that played a huge role when I, joined the military and had to deal with real world things I was responsible for. So that's what I would say.
America's Army, great game as well.
Yep.
And no way you had an ego, Mark. I don't believe it. I definitely don't have one either. But learning to rein that in for the good of everyone else, I think
Yep.
is a huge thing that all leaders have to go through for sure. It definitely happened to me. I definitely didn't butt heads with Reese ever or anyone else.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, like I know I'm perfect, so some people are just born this way. So, absolute specimen. Um, hey, there's a combined onion. How you doing, buddy? Anyway, one of the leadership lessons that I've learned during the service, I'd say, is always take an opportunity whenever it's given to you. Okay, and I was listening to uh the podcast yesterday, and I was encouraged to hear that there are so many people who are um they're very loyal to their branch. But I want to let you know that there's loyalty to your branch, but there's loyalty to USDF as well. Because once you become an officer, it no longer becomes about you, right? It's always about giving back. And so whenever you become a director, unless you're in branch command, you are director for not just the Navy. You're not a director for just the Marines or the Air Force or the Army. You're a director for everybody within your command. So I want to take time to make sure that everybody's encouraged to, just jump on opportunities that come to you because the command, the higher up structure, NSC, are looking for people who are hungry, right? They're looking for those who want more and want to give more because those are the people, those kind of homegrown people are the ones that stick around and create such a benefit to the community that we have. So that's one thing that I've learned.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed, man. Um, yeah, wonderful. Next question is going to be regarding the impact of community. So, how has the USDF community throughout your time influenced you personally, maybe professionally? Are there any standout moments or people who have had a lasting impact throughout your time?
I mean, for me, a lot of the people that are up here have made a long-lasting impact. And Mark has been a good friend for a very long time. Mark, you kind of got a little beat out by Jamie and Reese since we like I've known those two since the beginning of like Habbo time, and just they've made very big impacts on my my Habbo life as per se. But I think, fulfilling so many positions and roles within this community, the biggest thing I've learned to do is to not just talk, but to listen. Listening is very hard for me to do, and it's probably hard for a lot of people to do because there are some things that you may not want to hear, right? But sometimes the things that you may not want to hear are the things that you should.
Mm.
And you learn a lot. You learn a lot by letting people just talk, and TRM is very good at this. Very good at this. Because he'll let people do their thing, all right? And so that proves his point or whatever he does. But if you want to learn any lessons on listening, he's good to talk to. But anyway, that's what I encourage other people to do. Just find the time to find the time to talk, and find the time to listen. So,
Anybody else have something that they influenced or has something that USDF influenced?
I just influenced them here. They're all listening. So,
I have to say that working with Reese directly definitely colored how I approach things. He has a very unique way of approaching situations that I think anyone who's worked with directly would realize. There's a certain way that he wants things done, and trying to apply that, I don't always agree with it, but at least looking at how he would consider it, I think, is something that I wish everyone else had the opportunity to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Well, I'd probably say I learned from Reese a lot is to just ask questions because I've been Secretary of Defense now for the last 2 years, consistently, and that was 2 years before that. But in this last term, what I've really mastered the art of is just asking questions, and that's what Reese always would do to me or to Jamie or to anyone else that was in command. He just would ask questions. And if anyone in here has been in senior command before, or even just an officer chat, you guys will always see me just asking the basic questions. And sometimes they sound so simple, but sometimes all it takes is me asking a question just to be like, is this really worth it? Are we doing this the right way? Can we do this better? But yeah, I definitely would say Reese definitely had the biggest influence on me, personally and professionally. Very unique style of leadership. Going back to our Slack days, I remember some of the things that he would say were pretty brutal, especially if things were not set up to his standard on like parade day or anything else like that. But I definitely think I've taken the best, traits that Reese had and tried to apply it to my own leadership style.
Yeah, I think if Reese were up here, he would also say like never waver on your values, right? He's somebody that will make a decision and he'll stick with that decision, and it's he does not compromise on things that he values. He's steadfast on it. And that kind of approach has helped us out of many different situations, which Mark and Jamie can well attest to in prior years going back as well, where there were difficult decisions that needed to be made. And so we looked for counsel, and Reese was unwavering. He was very steadfast in what he wanted done, right? So his values and his commitment didn't change. So I think that's something that helped grow this community as well.
Absolutely. All right. Your next question: as a high-ranking officer or official, you've likely faced a variety of challenges. How did you approach and overcome your obstacles that were put in your way? And what advice would you give others looking to build that same kind of resilience?
Hmm.
What advice would you give others?
Well, my biggest advice has always been never to quit. And I don't want to repeat because I know this was in the podcast yesterday when I was a listener. But one of the things I think I'm probably known for the most is I've never really quit any military that I've really joined, except for USM in 2005. I think that's probably the only military I think I've ever quit. I was in USSO to the end. Yeah, I was at Tiberius military to the end, America's Army, Defense Gov, so on and so forth. And here I am with USDF 10 years later. But I always thought quitting was a very emotional response, and sometimes people just get tired and they just want to retire. Totally get that. Um, but quitting after you don't get a position or something else like that, I think it really backfires on you because most times people come back. So I'm not going to repeat the whole scheme of just go R2. We all know that. But I definitely think learning to be resilient when being told no, which is something that I learned the hard way here a few times in my early time, uh, really can help you out personally and professionally. So that's it.
And I think that's great advice. More so than, just don't quit, but look for other avenues. I mean, if you don't get one position that you want, surely there's others. Jared talked about taking opportunities before. In my time here, there's so many people that would have benefited from simply taking the opportunities that were present instead of sticking to this one thing that they want, which honestly, at least back then, I don't know how things are now really, but more often than not, it was someone was dead set on staying in this one branch to get this one position rather than moving somewhere else to take the open position that would have given them the same experience. and allowed them to grow.
Yeah, and I third both what Jamie and Mark said, specifically what Mark says, and I've preached this back during my time as chief of staff, and a lot of that now. The just pure confusion and from my part as to why somebody would leave just to return back several weeks later and then take a hit from it. It just, there are so much worse things. You could be in such worse condition than not getting a position. You know what I mean? Sometimes it baffled me as to the reason why you would leave, because you would have been so much farther along if you would have just stayed in the first place. And I get it. Again, people tire out. It's whatever. Burnout is a thing, but never stop. In my opinion, just don't stop. If you can keep going, go forward. One foot in front of the other until you get to where you need to be.
We hear some great advice. What is one obstacle maybe that you have faced throughout your time that you would feel okay with sharing? Because maybe other people have been in your shoes or are in your shoes um, in terms of obstacles.
So yeah, of course, being in the community for such a long time presents you the ability to become really close friends with individuals. And sometimes you need to separate that, like, friendship between what your actual role is compared to what you want for you, what you want for them, so on and so forth. So I think some opportunities is like I'd really like to see this person in this position, but do I think that would benefit the community as a whole? Probably not yet. So, making those kinds of decisions is very hard. Just remember, like I said, once you become an officer, it's not about you anymore, right? It's not about you looking for the next promotion. It's not about you finding ways to, put yourself above others. It's time for you to give back to the community, for you to recognize others. That's the kind of mindset that we're trying to push for.
Excellent. Anybody else before we move on?
I think for me, something that I always struggled with was asking for help. And I know it's something that a lot of other people struggle with. But things are so much easier when you sort of rely on the people around you and actually say, "Hi, I'm struggling with this. What do I do?" kind of thing.
Yes,
Like,
that's
especially
absolutely. Go
as an
ahead.
officer. No, carry on.
I was going to say that's great advice. So many people would rather not complete something than reach out for help, and they just let it eat at them. I mean, we have an entire command structure. If you're having a problem, you should not hesitate to ask for help with whatever it is. Everybody here wants to succeed. They want you to succeed. Bring it up.
Officers aren't scary. I promise.
Why is your profile picture a woman holding a knife?
Why not?
I'm just saying, if that's the first thing they're like, hey, maybe I should, hey, Jenny, oh, maybe not, so.
Hilarious. Absolutely wonderful. All right. Here's a good one. And I know that this is one that Senior Command has hit on in the previous podcast, but it's definitely interesting to hear what even more senior, even more tenured members of USDF have to say. What skills or what qualities, sorry, I haven't been posting these in the chat. What skills or qualities do you believe are most essential for success in this community? And how do you think that the upcoming leaders can develop these qualities?
I would say just being transparent. One of the things that I am a huge fan of when I pick people for command, or when our command picks others, is when people are just transparent. When they're like, "Hey, like this is actually one of my weaknesses, but I'm really good at this." Usually, I can work with that easily, and I'd prefer people to just be open and honest about what they struggle with and what they're you know proficient in. That'd probably be my number one thing. Just be open and honest with me. That's all I ask for.
To me, if I were picking people for positions, which I've picked many, uh, I've always looked out. My number one thing is, can they be molded? Right? If I find somebody that is stuck in their ways and cannot proceed without being flexible, I cannot pick them. I need to have somebody that I know can be molded and can be easily teachable. And Austin, as a teacher yourself, you probably understand, right? You said you're a teacher. I think
Mhm.
that's right, right?
Mhm.
You have bad students, right?
Absolutely.
And you have good students, correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so the ones that are good may not be the smartest, but they sure are the ones that try.
Right.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of people that I'm looking for. If I was looking for a quality, it'd be somebody that I know could be molded into a better version of themselves. That's what I'd like to see. And then I can nitpick after that.
I think it's easy to go back to one of Jared's previous points actually and say that be willing to listen and change
Mhm.
your opinion. You can't be convinced 100% that you're right. You have to be willing to listen to what other people have to say and adapt to what they say. I mean, that's a very important skill just to be in command, period. I don't know how many times we've all gone back and forth over something, and then, the final result is not quite what any of us pitched directly, but what everyone worked together on. So being willing to listen and change is definitely very important.
Nice.
Jenny, what do you think?
Must
Again, I
like
think
tea.
must like tea. Happy to spam fish in HQ, and must wear bow shoes.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, we're gonna have to disagree on the bow shoes.
Mm,
That
I
thing,
think
that's
you're
been a
wrong.
fight for years. Holy crap.
Okay, Jared, remember, you have to be willing to listen.
Yeah,
I
Jared.
did listen. I've decided I don't want them.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I brought them in. They're allowed now.
Excellent.
Oh god, oh. USDF is not the same.
It's so much better.
All right. Moving on to memorable moments. We've kind of very briefly touched on this. But have there been any particularly memorable events or any achievements that you stand out as defining moments for you or USDF?
Ooh, I've got a few quick ones. I'd say
Did it?
Reese giving me my Medal of Honor when he was on the mobile app during an OTS ceremony, and he
Hilarious.
couldn't he couldn't get the mobile app to work, and he kept cursing. I think in the middle of it, it was just so it's good in hindsight, but at the time we were like, damn, like
it was something.
that was 2017, and I'd say coming back in 2022, and then I guess reconnecting with Jamie and Jared to pretty much uh, not say take over USDF, but come back to active duty and kind of work on just seeing where USDF stood at in 2022 and kind of seeing like what we could edit and what we can change in our structure in our community to kind of make it a little bit more fun. And I think that we've kind of achieved that now looking back. It's been about 2 years since we did that, and I think USDF is a much more fun place to be in, and I think we're a much more transparent community. I think we've grown a lot. So I'd say, reestablishing my friendship, both of them, was really awesome.
That's wonderful. Is it acceptable for me to bring up the memory when Matt was accused of being a spy?
Oh, please do.
Where was that guy from? The person who said that Lost Prayer was a spy. I
It's
can't
one of
remember
the
what
BAFs.
military. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was BAF. But we were being told that Lost Prayer, who I think was the what's the position? The
Diotini.
was he that high at that point? I thought he was the
Oh,
NCO. The
Maybe he was SEAC.
Yes, yes. I think he was SEAC at the time, and he was
Yeah.
on vacation with his aunt. And I didn't know that at the time. I knew he was like going to be away for a couple of days, but I didn't know what he was doing. And someone forged a messenger screenshot from him with the wrong uniform on and messed up text in it and said that he was a spy. And it was a screenshot of him talking to Baff or something, like agreeing to do something to us. I don't remember. He didn't even have rights. But I asked Matt, "Where are you right now?" And he just said, "I'm on a boat," and then proceeded to send me a picture of himself on a boat, which was shared with command.
And we found out they mimicked that whole thing on a retro hotel. They rebuilt our whole HQ,
Yep,
and they messed up once. It was their uniform. That's how we figured it
yep,
out. But
yeah. The
man, they
uniform's
put in
wrong.
all that work. And I remember one of the people told me, he told me about that like 2 or 3 years ago. He came back, some Bath guy. I forgot who it was. But he said that it took them like 10 hours to remake our HQ, and all of them just to mess up that one thing. That really cracked me
Oh,
up.
hilarious.
Oh man, yeah. Starlia being Reese's daughter was another really fun conspiracy that was thrown around.
Oh yeah, I brought that up in command chat the other day when she reinstated. I was like, Reese's daughter is back. Everyone was really confused.
Yeah, none of us got it. We
No
were
one understood.
confused.
That's beautiful.
I'd say I had a few memorable moments. I remember a long time ago when we had gotten access to Red Dragon Army. Jamie probably remembers that, maybe Mark, but we had gotten access to Evil Latina's hallway,
Oh
and
no.
Reese and I were just roaming the hallways, and we walked in on her doing some naughty things in a
Oh
room.
no.
Oh
Yeah, and
no.
then Reese was like, "Oh hell no!" And then we raided them the same day, which was
Hobbo
really fun.
bedrooms.
Uh, uh, I think another memorable moment was an OCS parade where somebody ran out from the stands and grabbed the grabbed the gun off of somebody's gun holster.
Oh god.
Does anybody remember that? Austin may
Yes.
remember
I
that.
remember yelling at command asking how the curse word
Oh,
for that happened.
yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Oh, I was livid.
so they're
Listen,
I
like,
felt my blood boil. Oh
somebody just
man.
did something bad with a gun in the middle of the OCS ceremony.
They had it all pre-typed out too, like star,
Uh,
Cox gun, loads it. I was like, oh no.
yeah,
he
dude.
was ICSD certified. We love to see it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not every memory, and I don't want to end on like a bad note, but not every memory, was a good memory. I mean, I can remember, and I'm not going to go into details, but I can, talk with Mark and Jamie here, and Reese that, at some points in USDF's history, we were considering just stopping. You know what I mean? So making like hard decisions like that, kind of always stuck with me, and because knowing how many people it would impact if we were to close, which I'm not saying is happening. And it looks like, I mean, just today, every day I get screenshots of like, look, the HQ's full at 12 o'clock, like we're random time, 75 people in the room. Okay, whatever, you know what I mean? But definitely, times haven't always been great. So those kind of memories always, want to push me to do a little better.
The end, the perseverance and steadfastness that you were talking about definitely came through. That and Mark's willingness to, continue to do this.
Yeah, you all don't understand how much you owe Mark. And you will, I don't know if you'll ever understand without knowing the full aspect, but Mark is a main component as to the reason why we're still here.
He'll be here
Oh,
until
God.
Habbo closes down.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere, guys. Don't worry.
So everybody tag Mark in chat and say thank you.
Thank you for allowing
Oh,
bow
boy.
shoes.
I was
You're
gonna
welcome.
ask Jenny's memorable moment, but I know it was the second that bow shoes were allowed. I know that's the answer.
I mean, I made some good friends along the way as well.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. Again, this is one that we've. Actually, I am gonna continue on without doing that one because we have hit that question. Um, Looking towards the future. And Mark, this is a great one for you, Jared, Jamie, as more of the advisor or the counsel. Um, what is your future for the USDF? What do you hope that USDF accomplishes in the next uh, handful of years while it's still kicking?
Well, I'll start with this one. So one of the first things that um, I'm going to say is that we like the whole roadmap idea. So we came out with one for the end of the quarter, and we published it not too long ago. Andre did Wires. So we're definitely going to keep on doing those. We did one last year, and it took us a little while to get one started for this year, but we want to prioritize some things internally. And we did a lot of overhauls that I think would have been just a little bit just boring to put on a roadmap. But we're going to definitely keep on doing those, and we'll keep you guys updated and informed on what's coming. And I really want to say I want you guys to keep on posting suggestions. I look at that suggestions channel quite a bit, and usually I'm messaging OSPNC right after saying, "Hey, I like this. Let's find a way to do it," and stuff like that. So definitely keep on being vocal with your suggestions. As far as what USDF is going to do, we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for Habbo to open up their fan site applications. Every time I've spoken to the staff that's in charge of it, they keep on pushing it down the road because I'm sure it's very time consuming and they're probably doing a lot of things. And as far as everything else, we've looked at other things such as doing a uniform modernization update. That's something that's a little bit down the road, but something we have our eyes set on. We like the whole ICSD portfolio that we set up. I think that's going to be great. I think what we're going to look at doing next specifically is looking at all of our command positions and seeing if there's any erroneous ones that maybe we don't need, or maybe we can make a new position out of something. And we're going to talk to all the command and the offices to see if maybe we can combine or merge, or maybe create a new command position for something that maybe we need. But at the end of the day, we are at the hands of Habbo Hotel, and unfortunately, Habbo has been having a rough time the last few years in terms of players and population, and we've seen some of our allies close. SWAT closed after 10 years just last month. NCIS closed a few months ago. So we're still holding up strong. The HQ was full for a few hours today, so you guys are still kicking. You guys are still kicking ass, so I appreciate it. But we've got some things going on down the line. We don't want to spoil them yet, but stay tuned. We got some updates coming out.
Yeah, so for me, I always read the chats, and if you guys message me, I usually always respond. And I'm in command chats, kind of giving my opinion as well, and Mark gives Mac updates about what's going on. To me, I think the office that is going to be handling the role play is the most important thing that I've seen done in quite a long time. USDF opened under the guise of a military role play, and we've kind of gotten off that track. You know what I mean? We've retained aspects, but we really don't role play much. We come in and we do duties, and then that's that. So to see the return to our roots of like an actual role playing community is very exciting, and I love to be able to see how people get involved with this. And that's what I'm really excited for, the return of role play in our military role play game.
Absolutely. One more question, pre-designed question. We've talked about the future, but think about your past for a second. If you could go back to the start of your career, is there any advice that you would give your younger self or anything that you would do differently?
Oof.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I mean, with hindsight, there's so many things you could do differently. but I wish that I was a little bit less combative with certain people in command. I think it would have made things easier if I had been less egotistical at certain points and more willing to listen to other people.
Here. I totally agree with that. There are so many times where you're you're talking to win rather than talking to succeed. You know what I mean? And it's not a competition. It's not a competition when everybody's all on the same team, right? So really, if you're trying to win, then your goals are opposite of what the communities are. So, just to me, if I were to slap my younger self around, it'd be like, what why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? There's so many different ways to come across to people to make them want to listen to you rather than have to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I've been in command for so long now, and when you're in command, especially when you're not like, originally from the original Depth Nav days, you made friends along the way, such as I did, and it's a shame that some friendships got ruined because of the decisions I had to make as SecDef as the boss. Some of them aren't, the ones that help my friends, but at the end of the day, I make the decisions that are best for the community, and not necessarily that I would do something better or something I wish I would change, but I wish some of my friends would have been a little bit more understanding to my position. I've lost some lifelong friends here during the time, but I've also made friends along the way. So I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
life. But I guess that's really it.
Excellent. For the last 10 minutes, um, as people are listening to the podcast, naturally they're coming up with questions that they want to ask that maybe they can't think of beforehand. So what I want to do is I would like to open up the chat to submit any questions that they have for the key members. And some of these questions, God bless the USA.
Yogi is my favorite pet. Ailes.
I would have to go with Yogi as well.
Let's see. What's chat asking?
Ooh, direct
Who's the
promotions to 01. I'm sorry, Austin. Let me
Oh,
just
you're good.
touch on that one. Jamie and I have answered this one quite a few times in the past. What did we call the field promotions, right? Back in the day,
Yes.
Jamie?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. So those worked great on paper, but when we actually executed it in reality, it kind of backfired in a way. So I don't even remember who it was at this point. It's been so long. But I remember some of the field promotions that we did, we didn't actually end up helping those people that we wanted to do, like to help them out with. Sometimes like they would just fail on the tests and they would be doing so great at everything else, but when it came to the test, they just couldn't pass it. So we considered that. We considered some people that just didn't really understand the material. And we considered some long-standing people that just, were CWF5 for so long and just couldn't get past vetting or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, when we made those field promotions to 01, that's without going through OCS for anyone who doesn't understand. We actually end up hurting them because they lack the knowledge and they lack the tools that OCS gives and has given people throughout many of its iterations needed to succeed. And when they became officers, they ended up having lower reviews and they didn't really understand some things that they would have learned naturally if they just went through the education system that we established. So I don't think we will ever do those again. I think that was 2017 or 16 maybe last time.
Been a while
Space
now.
Force One. Uh, we'll open up a fifth branch when Habbo Hotel can stay a little bit more consistent and active. How about that? But not anytime soon.
There was the 800 people on the badge.
Yeah, COVID era.
That was the rule.
837. That was our peak, I think.
Um, what was there was something I was gonna say. Oh,
Oh, I
yeah,
want to
I
shout
got
out
direct
Brazil real
promoted
quick.
to 01. Jamie direct promoted me to 01, and I turned out fine. Look at me.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
Shout out to our friends in Brazil. Malink just posted MYT. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming out.
Any
Funds,
sneak peek
USDF.
information you can give
Great
to us
question.
about the next HQ? Yeah, it has chairs in it.
Can confirm it has a front row.
Does it
Damn.
though?
Duncan asked a good question. What member of command, past or present, has the biggest comeback story? Damn.
I was thinking
that's-
about that one, but I don't know how to answer it. There's so
I
many.
know how to answer mine, and his name has 3 letters in it.
Okay.
Am I illiterate?
TRM.
His name does not have 3 letters. His acronym.
Yeah, acronym. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
TRM.
Yeah, your name also has 3 letters in it.
Wow, I don't know. Oh, there's so many people I would pick. I'm gonna have to come back to that one.
I'm not a key member, but just for giggles, integration's
yeah.
comeback story was massive, absolutely massive.
Yep, I'll give it to integration as well. That's a good one.
From going DD to NR from senior command, to getting it together and coming back now serving as OSD. I mean, the man has absolutely come full circle. And I think that's absolutely great of him.
If Habbo closed, what are our future plans on getting USDF back?
Oh,
We've looked at other areas like Roblox and what's the other one? Minecraft. I don't play it.
Minecraft.
If it was up to me, we'd all be playing League
That
of
what the
Legends all
kids play
day.
nowadays?
But we've looked at other communities and other things as backups. We'll cross that bridge when it gets there. But yeah, I'm not gonna make any plans for another platform while we still have Habbo.
Old school
And my
RuneScape.
intention is supporting Habbo. OSRS, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yak, funny Yak, AK472, really wants to know if you had to create a team of 5 people from USDF, past or present, to save the world in a 5-a-side football match, who would you choose?
Football
Holy
as
crap.
in soccer or American football?
Nah, American football. I
Oh,
just
God.
decided.
Lost Prayer is one of them. I don't know anyone else. I think it'd be funny to put Jared on that team too, actually.
Now, why would that be funny?
Just,
Because I'm a funny guy.
yep, see?
Jenny would choose anyone that's wearing bow shoes.
Literally.
I'm taking TRM. He would like outmaneuver them strategically with like secret intelligence skills and politics and everything else like
That's
that. It'd be
right.
crazy. We'd already have a clone on the other team that's working for us, and so yeah, I'm taking TRM.
Hilarious.
We got the assistant coach from the other team giving us all the plays.
Any last minute questions from chat?
If I said
Oh.
Tiberius.
Bridge the gap. That was not me. Maybe Jared can answer that one.
Yeah, if not Jared, I know I can, but
What?
Yeah,
What's
I
the
don't
question?
really understand that.
the Bridge the Gap initiative, the NSC put in 2 years ago, last year.
So Mark doesn't know about an NSC initiative that was put in last year? Holy shit.
Okay, then okay, my fault. Yeah, it was 2 years
He
ago.
said 2 years ago.
Fired.
That's not good.
I would never make that campaign, so I wouldn't know.
Well, it kind of sounds familiar. I think it was something that there was I think the problem with. Okay, so Xena and TRM were in control, which was fine. Think a lot of we did way too many polls, which resulted in way too many opinions. And whenever you have too many opinions, you become like the jack of all trades and the master of none, right? So you start working on this path and this path and this path and this path, but you never get anything done because you're working on so many different things. I think that was one of the things that we were trying to bridge the gap, because there was a lot of people who, and rightfully so, didn't know who Command was. They didn't see him in HQ. They didn't know who they were talking to, who was promoting them, and whatnot. So I think that was a goal to have command be more a part of the community, be active, engaged, talking with people, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think a lot of the things that we were trying to do led to worse results than what we wanted to know. Sometimes you ask questions to get the answers you don't want to hear. And we were hearing a lot of answers we didn't want to hear, which was kind of skewing how we wanted to proceed. Anyway, long story short, we did like little, meet and greets with command. We did those. Jenny hosted. Jenny, you remember that you hosted different events where people sat in a audience and whatnot, and we answered questions and talked about what was going on and stuff. So that kind of thing in game.
Didn't we try merging chats as well? The general chats.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
One question
Yeah, I
that
think
has
I was already
oh,
I was
go ahead.
retired. No, go ahead.
One question that has been asked in the last few podcasts, and I'm not sure if they've been answered. And we can run a little over because we started just a few minutes late. What advice do you have for those who are struggling to obtain positions or get into OCS for the longest time? What advice would you give those who are actively seeking and trying to, what's the word I'm looking for, develop in this community, but are just having difficulties doing so?
That is the age-old question of how do you get into OCS, which is the time has been time tested throughout the ages, right? So, for OCS, I mean, like I definitely TRM has a lot of good advice. Mark has a lot of good advice, and I don't want to like tell people to like skip chain of command, but those are good people that you want to get to know and get to talk to. For positions, one thing that you should always do, and this is a pro tip from me, and you didn't hear it from anybody else, right? Go to the person that is opening the position and ask them what their office is missing. You have this position open. What are you looking for this person to do? And how can I help your office? What are you missing? Right? That to me, I had somebody do that to me one time where they were interested in the spot and I gave them the position because not only did that tell me that they were interested in the spot, but they wanted to know how they could help the office further. All right, so go ahead and like that's a pro tip. Don't, go ahead and try it. See how it does for you. But for me, that was really, really impressive. That's one thing I would do.
I had some people come to me as DGFD as well and do that, like when
Just
positions would
ask
open.
them what's the problems in the office I can help solve. And then whenever they tell you what the problems are, you put that in your EOI and say, I know you got problems and I got solutions, right? And here's how I'm going to do it.
Damn, I wish someone would say that to me.
It was so impressive. Honest to God, like whenever I was OSP&C director, that's how I took them on. So
Jamie, what's the old story that we could tell real quick?
Well, I mean, you can declassify the whole.
Let's do that. Look, we could do the one too with Matt.
Oh God, I don't even remember which one Matt did. There's so many different things.
Remember the one we faked a fight? Me and him.
Oh yeah.
You
And he
tell it. You
left.
tell it.
Where did he go though? I don't remember where he went.
Oh, I
just
think.
remember.
Oh, Zanny military, right? Bulkings.
Maybe, but I don't remember the
Maybe.
name. It's
I
been too
forgot.
long for these things. The one with the Death Star was just really funny though. Like
Yeah, tell it.
to me, because how long did you stay awake? I can't remember. Was it like 20 something hours that you were just
I think
waiting
it
for
was
this
like
guy to go to
20.
sleep?
Yeah, 21 hours. I think like consecutively on Habbo.
Yeah.
Context is important, gentlemen. Context.
What did they do? They threatened us, and then they ended up hiring someone who had just left, which I think was Keegan at the time,
Mhm.
into their military. And of course, Keegan was still working with us. Mark spent 20 hours waiting for someone to go to sleep so that we could then just trash their entire HQ, all their badges, everything. They gave Keegan access to way too much. He got oh man,
Keegan.
things have changed, but it was different in the past. Although that isn't that long ago. When was that? 2020 maybe?
No, before that, I think.
I'm not
But yeah, it was
declassifying anything. You guys can spew all you want.
that was such a funny one. But we had another one too where Lost Prayer and I we faked an argument. This is like 2016. We had this whole elaborate plan set up where I think I was what was I? I was like OSD equivalent at the time, and so was him. So was Matt. And pretty much the whole plan was that it became this thing where me and Matt would like get into an argument in HQ, and then on Slack we got into a little bit like a taffle, and pretty much Matt. The whole point of him was to go to this other military and like do intelligence for us, and it ended up working. But he went undercover and he like rage quit USDF. Oh, Mark sucks, and we ended up like firing him and everything. And he went undercover for some military, and we ended up closing him. I think like a week or two later.
It didn't take long, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was very funny because it was set up so beautifully with the HQ argument and the actual Slack argument, and then everyone bought it. That Matt was actually angry and quit.
we were getting really really bad into it. Just imagine like two members of command getting into it in our general chat right now in 2024. Like,
Nobody
it's hard.
else knew what was going on. It was bad, but it worked.
Yep. Good memories. Good memories. I'd say one more quick funny memory was remember when we tried doing like 2 HQs? I think that
Oh
was crazy.
Oh gosh.
That
yeah,
was rough. So we had the Army and Air Force in one HQ, and we had the Navy and Marines in the other HQ, and they both were like 50-50 populated. But the
Yeah.
issue is that people were friends with each other in other branches. It's like they'd want to go to the other HQ to fill it up, and then it didn't work. But at the time, it was like such a great idea. We're like, oh, this is great. We're about to have 2 big
Well,
HQs.
we all came from the time period
of
more
having
rooms
4.
equals more better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if you were USM and you had 4 rooms that had 25 people in each, you were a monster. So more rooms equals more better, right? To get more people.
Which is funny because like we tried doing that on Origins because Habbo, if you guys don't remember, in June they came out with like the OG 2005 version of Habbo Hotel called Origins. And when I was going hellbent and trying to get USDF on there, we had 4 small HQs, and the same thing happened in like 2016 happened in 2024, where people in another branch wanted to be another branch's HQ, and then before you knew it, we had 125 populated L-shaped HQ dipping down to like 10 because no one wants to be in there. So it's kind of funny how things evolved over time. Even with Origins and USDF, it still didn't work because I think it just goes to show how much the
Well,
communities have
that
changed. It's not
back
really
when we
about.
had 4 HQs, honestly, everything was a lot more separated than it is today.
right.
Yeah, there wasn't no
People weren't
Discord.
used to, yeah, they didn't communicate as much. We had like a forum, and
Hmm.
Oh yeah, back then
that
we
was it.
didn't like you don't understand like back whenever Jamie and I first started, we didn't even use forums or Discord or anything.
No.
We used a room that had stickies in it,
Yeah.
right? And it had a password in
That was the
the
USM way
door,
too.
and so people like you went into the sticky room and you added people's names and ranks to a sticky.
Yep. USM had a DD and an R list in their HQ, and on a sticky note, and the VIP was a
Yep.
sticky note too.
And
Yeah.
like Habbo had a thing about stickies where like if you didn't fill up the whole sticky, people could type whatever they wanted
Oh
on it.
yeah.
Even if they weren't like had rights in the room, they could type whatever in it. So you sometimes people would forget to like press and enter on the last line of the sticky, and then you'd see like people type in like raid or like bunch of spam letters and stuff like that.
Oh, they did that on Origins to us a few months ago because I forgot all about that. And
Oh yeah.
we walked in HQ and they're like, "Mark, sir, our stickies have been trashed." I was like, "What?" And I
Well,
read some really foul things that I cannot repeat. But
Yeah, they did that back then too. But
Yeah,
nothing's changed. Just
it's
the
a good
internet.
throwback. Yep.
I mean, honestly, I
Louise.
think looking back at that is a great way to see how far we've come. And how
Next time
connected
we have
everyone
a podcast like this, we just bring on like every single old fogey and
What?
just
We're not
make them
old.
explain how like the difference of like back in 2004's Habbo compared to this one.
Like, if
And
you
you will
guys
know
ever
the pain of what Habbo has created. The nights that people stayed up and constantly had to kick raiders in a door using chooser. That you'll never forget. There
just
was no
because
mute. There was no ban. There was only kick.
just because Mark stayed up for 21 hours does not mean that he didn't have a shower. All right, just
Yeah,
saying.
really. Accusatory.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
All
we need
right.
one of these
Aaliyah,
where
happy
Lost
birthday.
Prayer is here, and it'll be a lot more insane.
Oh yeah, we gotta get Matt next time. That'll be fun. Maybe I'll get Mexi here too. She
Ooh.
might talk too much.
Oh no.
Oh boy. Well, I think this is fun. I really appreciate you guys all coming out and especially Jamie and Jared. I know you guys are happily retired, where I normally would be, but I appreciate you guys coming out. It's pretty cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
like I said, I may be retired, but I am definitely like engaged. I sometimes I don't respond, but I do read everything, and Mark knows I chime in a lot in the other servers. So if you got any like questions or whatnot, I'm open to be able to help out.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Jenny, too. Thanks, Austin, for hosting. Appreciate it.
It's good to connect with everyone.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely and Andre came out too. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it is good to see Duncan back for the 10th time. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Yeah. This guy just
Congrats,
can't let it
buddy.
go.
Talk about people that shouldn't leave and come back.
Well, he's a father now. He's got
I
an
don't
excuse.
care. His children are in this game.
I
His
know he's gonna
child
be in the
is
front
like
row
4
soon.
months old. Hilarious.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming. Um, again, as Mark already said, thank you, Jared and Jamie, for making time. We know that you, like you said, are happily away. You're so welcome, Els. Yeah, I think that wraps us up, everyone.
All right, guys. Have a good
Uh,
night. Appreciate you coming out.
Yep, and stay tuned for more fun events leading up to USDF's 20th anniversary.
Yeah, I can't wait to
OP,
see you all at the parade.
yeah, OPA, our Phoebe, our director of administration management, has worked tirelessly over the last few months to create all these different rooms and prep for the parade. So stay tuned. All right.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
I'll talk
Bye,
to you all
guys.
later.
Bye.